fellow Toastmasters, and we have two guests, Sue and Adam. It's very nice to see you here. As Rachel mentioned, today I have an objective. My objective is to give this unconventional speech. There's the four parts to it. First, I'm going to talk about the sales process, which I don't know about you guys, but I don't like salespeople, which is kind of ironic. I'm in sales. I don't like pushy salespeople, I should say. Second part is to introduce a scenario. The third part is to have that scenario that we're going to play out. I have a great volunteer with me here today. And the fourth part is to get criticism or constructive feedback from the people here, and then also from the person that I'm running this scenario with. It's 8 to 12 minutes, so it's a little bit longer. But let's go ahead and get started. What is the sales process? Why do people hate the sales process? It's because people are so pushy, because they'll try to pigeonhole you into one solution when maybe that isn't the solution for you. That's why I personally don't like the sales process. As a financial advisor, that's why I don't like it when I go to see somebody that has already been sold a life insurance policy so that they can save for retirement. That's not really what life insurance policies are typically meant for. So that's where the problem comes in. But usually the salesperson doesn't have anything else to sell, so that's what they try to sell them. And it can be a savings vehicle, and it can have good principles to it, but typically life insurance is what it's meant for, life insurance. So the sales process is simple. There's three or four parts to the sales process. The first part of the sales process is identify the buyer's needs. What are the needs of the buyer? If you think about it, if all salespeople identified the needs of the buyer, we'd have a lot better situation. So you want to ask open-ended questions. You want to be cognizant and listen of what their answers are so that you can get that feedback and figure out what it is they're trying to accomplish. The second thing you want to do is, after you listen to what they're trying to do, is you want to say, okay, well, these are possible solutions. You could do this, this, or this. After you listen to the solutions, then you help evaluate the solutions. The old Ben Franklin sales technique is, let's get the piece of paper out, put the pros on one side and the cons on the other side. And then if there's more pros, then it's a good idea. Which brings you to the fourth part of the technique, is helping somebody come to a decision. Just like in Toastmasters, after you hand somebody a membership packet, would you like to join? Ask them a decision, make a decision. Same thing when it comes to sales. You want to ask them to make a decision. I always tell people, take your time making a decision, go sleep on it. Some people try to get you to do that right on the spot. Do whatever you're comfortable with. It's kind of like when you go to a timeshare salesman, you're always like, no, you got to meditate on no for like half a day before you can go into those people, because they're really good at selling. So, with that said, that's how the sales process works. The 4 steps: evaluate their needs, look at the different options, help them evaluate the options that are available, and then make a decision. Let's go ahead and move on to the second part. If you would, Greg, please stand up. The second part is, I'm going to be working out a scenario with Greg. He's my buyer. I'm going to try to sell Greg something that is dear to my heart. It has to do with personal finance. This book right here, The Automatic Millionaire, for $12.95. And I picked Greg personally because I know he's a penny pincher, like myself. So I'm really going to have to identify what his needs are in order to do that. After I identify his needs, help him weigh the options out. After I help him weigh what the different options are available, kind of say, what do we want to do? Ask him to make a decision at that point in time. Now, I'm going to add a little bit extra to it because I am in sales, and I'll try to add in techniques that salespeople use that you can look for, and you'll just kind of smirk inside when people use that with you. So I'll add the extra part to it. Let's move into the third phase of my speech, which is the scenario. And what I want to do here is, the first thing I want to do is establish rapport with the buyer. Let's give a round of applause to Greg. How was your weekend?
It was pretty quick.
Pretty quick?
Yeah.
Did it go fast because you were having fun?
I guess you could say that.
Or did it go fast because you had a lot of work to do? Housework? Or...
What are you selling me?
I like this guy. He's just like myself. Did you have a good weekend though?
Yeah, I did.
Did you like the weather?
It's all right. I don't mind the snow too much.
That's good. That's good. Most people hate the snow. In fact, I heard when Don was talking about the snow earlier, he said, look forward to spring. I would rather be down somewhere nice and warm right now, maybe at the beach. What about yourself?
I've been thinking about a trip to Disney World.
Disney World. What would you do in Disney World?
Go to all the theme parks.
Man, those are expensive.
That's true.
So if you want to go down south sometime or you want to go to Disney World, how do you plan for something like that?
We have to save and spend our money wisely.
Exactly. And do you have a pretty good, do you know what your budget is?
For Disney World? Oh, our budget,
In general,
yes.
you know how
Yes, I
much you
keep
spend?
track of all that I spend.
Probably 1 in 99. Everybody! So that's great that you do look at your budget. So are there other things that you do to help your personal finances? What else do you eat? If you do your budgeting, do you have a set amount that you're setting aside for retirement, for your vacations, that sort of thing?
We have a Roth IRA, me and my wife, and the state has a 401k plan. So I'd like to save a little more money if I could.
Do you know if you're on target for some of your goals?
Not really.
Is it hard to save for those goals?
Don't know.
Okay, that's good. Well, sounds like from what I'm hearing is you already have a goal. You have some retirement savings that are being established. You would like to go on vacation. You'd like to go to Disney World, and those things cost money. You already do your budgeting. So I don't know if I can really help you at all, but what I'd like to do is introduce something to you, which is one of my personal favorite books called The Automatic Millionaire.
I'm cognizant of that book.
I know you are. We talked about it. This is a really good book. And what David Bach, which, one of your options would be maybe to hire a CFP, or you might have another option to hire one on an hourly basis, or you might just do it yourself. I'm a big believer in self-help. I do a lot of things myself. So one of your options might be to get this book here, which is called The Automatic Millionaire. And in fact, David Bach talks about a lot of interesting things in here. In the second chapter, he talks about the latte factor. Has anybody here heard of the latte factor? Well, the latte factor, Greg, is looking at your pennies and being able to save a little bit of increments and how they add up over time. And in this scenario, he looks at this particular lady that he's talking to in a class that he's teaching at a community college, not unlike the one down this way there. And she's spending $3.50 on a double non-fat latte, non-fat muffin $1.50, juice $3.95, juice boost 50 cents, power bar $1.75, for a total of $11.20 a day is what she's spending on her lunch and breakfast. Now he says, if you were to take that same $11 and save it up until you're maybe 60, 65, or when you want to retire, do you realize how much money that would be worth? If you could just take your lunch in, maybe spend $1 instead of $4 or $5, it would be almost $1.7 million. And that's compounded at a rate between 8, 9, and 10%. I'm not quite sure what he used in the book, but at that sort of a rate, if you were to just take those little pennies, those lattes, and add them up, then you could have quite a substantial savings by the time you get ready to retire. You ever thought about that?
Yes.
I figured you had. So, if you could learn how to save $1.7 million before you were retired, would you like to do that?
Of course.
If you could pay off your home in less than the 30 years, maybe in time for your kids to go to college, would you do that as well?
Definitely.
And if you could do it automatically, would that make it that much easier so you didn't have to think about it? You could just go out running every day.
Yeah, that would be great.
Would you like to buy the book for $12.95?
I wouldn't need a financial planner if I bought this book.
You might not. You might not.
Can I think about it?
You absolutely can. Thank you very much. Round of applause. So, hopefully you were writing down things that I can do better given that speech, questions that I might have asked him that would have been a little more open-ended and got more information out of him. But as you can see, one of the deeper things is you'll hear a salesperson always ask 3 positive questions before they go for the kill. Would you like to have a $1.7 million? Would you like to have your house paid off sooner? Would you like to have, and as soon as you say yes, you're getting in that positive frame of mind, and you want to say yes again. So that's when they go for the sell. That's one thing. And then another thing, if they're really doing it right, is they're listening, like I said early on, they're listening for the needs of the buyer. If you don't meet the needs, then really there's no connection, and you're just kind of blowing them around. Do I have any questions, or Greg, is there something that I should have asked that would have been better?
You should have let me look at the book. We didn't have time.
Okay. That's good.